So welcome everybody. My name is Jamie Pollock. My company is Royalwise. You can always find us online at royalwise.com. Today we are doing our What's New in iPadOS 14 class. I'm super excited about this class because I have been doing my iPhone, iPad, all the basics class for years and years and years, and that is the class that you're going to want to take out of our on-demand area if you need to know all the basics of your iPhone and or your iPad, since they have always had the same operating system called iOS. All the features are the same and the buttons work the same and all that. But about a year and a half ago, Apple actually introduced iPadOS for the first time. And so now the iPad has kind of a different operating system. I'm not going to call it a different operating system because everything in iOS is in iPadOS also. But iPadOS has some new features that are specific to the iPad because the screen's bigger and we have an Apple Pencil. And so there's a couple different ways to interact with the iPad. And so that's why iPadOS was created. There was not an iPadOS before iPadOS 14. So this is, I normally do my What's New class in the fall right after they show us the new operating systems. But I didn't do that last year when they first launched it. So thank you for coming and seeing what's new with me now. And of course, in the fall when iPadOS 15 comes out, we'll be doing a What's New to show you all the cool features there. So here's my new iPad Pro. This is the 11-inch and not the 13-inch. Okay. It does have an M1 processor in it, so the iPad Air 2 or the newest iPad Air has the A Bionic series in it, but the new iPad Pros have the M1 chip. This is the brand new Apple Silicon chip that Apple has created. It's in the new 13-inch MacBook Pro. It's also in the iMac. And then it's also in, the new 24-inch iMac, and the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro, but now it's in the iPad. So this is the very first time Apple's put an M1 chip or kind of like a desktop processor in a mobile device. So we're super excited about that. Just to show you a couple other things that I got with it. This is the new keyboard and case that you can buy with it. This is a $350 product, I believe, but it is very nice because the iPad just clicks right into it. See, there's a spot there for the camera to come through, so you just line that up, right? And then it can close and be your case. Very nice. Let me get that camera on the right side. Notice the Apple Pencil. This is a $100 product, and it just magnetically connects right there. That charges the pencil too, so you don't have to worry about charging your pencil. You just magnetically connect it. And this is kind of the nice part about this whole thing is now that I have this, I can crack it open like that and then tilt it. And it's almost exactly like using a laptop. It really is kind of a neat little slick little situation that we get into once we have that. And then we also do have that trackpad. And so a little bit later, I'm going to be demoing how that trackpad works. So there's actually I'm not going to call it a cursor. It's not a little arrow. It's actually a little dot. It's a little dot that kind of symbolizes or represents the fact like we would be tapping. So instead of tapping, we have that little dot for it. So let's get started. First topic I'm going to talk about that is on the iPad Pro or in iPadOS is also on the phone. It's called Widgets, and Widgets is kind of a new thing. And so I want to demonstrate Widgets. So to start off with, I'm just on my home screen, and you can see all the apps that I have on my home screen. But if I swipe to the right from the left side of it, it opens up this widget area. Okay. And so now I have what are called widgets, and these are just little things that can tell me certain information from apps. So we'll notice I have my calendar widget up here on the top left, and I've got my weather widget. And if I tap on it, it's going to actually take me to either a website or to that app. So here it is, taking me over to that. If I tap on my calendar, it's going to take me into my calendar. Don't look at that mess. That is crazy. This next widget I have that's got the little picture in it is actually called a stack, and I can actually flip through different things and stack things inside of this widget. So these are actually shortcuts I've created. This is my photos and my music. So I can actually put different widgets in here and flip through them. Now, if I scroll all the way down, so here's a screen time widget, so I can check and see how much I've been using my iPad, my stock widget. And if I go to the very, very bottom of this widget area, there's an edit area. And when I hit edit, now I can actually delete these widgets by hitting the little minus sign, and or I can add new widgets. I'll show you that in a minute. Up here in the top left corner is my little plus sign. And now I can actually look through all the different widgets and decide which widgets I want to add into here. Notice there's all sorts of great widgets. But I want to start at the very top where it says keep on the home screen. And so if I turn that on and then get out of what's called waggle mode or this edit mode, now these widgets aren't going to slide over that way. Okay, so they're going to just stay on the home screen and not disappear on me. And then when I swipe left, I actually just go to that next screen and then come back to my main home screen. So again, all the way at the bottom, I'm going to hit that edit button and I can toggle this keep on home screen on or off depending on how I like it. Now, I personally like it that I can swipe it off and then swipe it back on when I want to. I don't like it having it there all the time, but that's a personal preference. So as you guys know me, I like to be pretty thorough. So there's a second place where we can control this concept of whether we're going to keep it on our home screen or not. Okay, so to figure out how we can control this through the settings, I'm going to go into my settings application and I'm going to scroll down just a little bit until I see the home screen and dock area. And notice here in the today view, there's another keep today view on the home screen toggle, and I can turn that on and off. Right. Also notice here from the home screen, I can make my icons bigger or smaller. So if I want more icons, I can make them smaller. If I don't really need that many icons, I can make them bigger. So that's kind of fun. And then also just to go through here, we've got some multitasking options. Do I want to allow multiple apps and do I want to use gestures? So just know you can control all that here in the settings. I'm going to swipe up from the bottom of my screen to get back to my home screen. So I'm going to go back into my widget area one more time and scroll all the, well, before I even do that, let me show you this, is that if I touch and hold on a widget, I'm actually going to get a pop-up that allows me to edit this one widget or remove this one widget. So if I say edit widget, now I can even change the location just in case the location of the weather isn't where I want it to be, right? So maybe I want it to be someplace else instead of my location. Maybe I want want to know how it's happening at the coast. Touch and hold on my calendar and say edit widget. And now does it want to mirror my calendar app or do I want to do something different with it? So just know that that is something that you can do on any of these widgets. Even the stack, touch and hold and say edit the stack. And now it'll tell me what 4 or 5 widgets I have in here. And I can even change what order these widgets show up in my stack if I want to. And I'm just going to swipe to get those widgets off of there. Just a little let you know that expect an iPadOS 15, you'll actually be able to drag these widgets and interact them with the rest of the apps on your home screen like the phone does right now in iOS 14. That's working on the phone where you can add your widgets onto the phone. Okay, now that we've taken a look at the widgets, kind of a fun new feature, our next topic is going to be talking about multitasking. This is really one of the coolest things I really think about the way the new iPad operating system works is that you can have more than one app open and you can deal with more than one app at a time. So let me show you a couple of examples of how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Safari and just show you that here I am still on that weather page. Now for me to open up a second app, I'm going to swipe up from the bottom and get the dock to come up. Now that the dock is up, I'm going to just grab my mail and I'm going to drag it up onto the screen. And there it is now as a slide over is what this is called. Now that I have the slide over, it's asking me like, you know, which part of mail do I want to look at because I have more than one mail window open. So I'm going to just go here to my inbox. And now I can actually come and check my mail, open up any messages that I want to. Now, the cool thing about the slide over is that I can now, you see that little gray line across the top, I can grab that guy and slide it over to the other side if I want to. So if I don't want the slide over on the right side, I can have it on the left side and I can decide which side I really want to have that slide over on. Now, if I want to be done with the slide over, all I got to do is swipe it to the right off the screen and away it goes. Same thing again, I'm going to swipe up from the bottom to get to my dock exposed and I'm going to grab my text messages and I'm going to pull that up. And so now I can keep track of my text messages while I'm doing whatever else I'm doing if I want to. And if I want to be done, swipe it over to the right and get rid of it. Now, the next really cool multi-tasking feature is if I want to do something a little bit different, I'm going to go and grab my mail, drag it up. There we go. My mail's now up there. Let me get rid of it and show you that again. I'm going to pull my dock up drag mail up and out of the dock. And now that I have it as a slide over and I pick which one I want, I can grab that little gray bar at the top and then take it over to the side a little bit and pause and put it into split screen mode. So now I can actually have two apps open right next to each other in split screen mode. And we see our little gray line in the middle, and I can now take that and, come here you, pull it over to the right a little bit. And then if I want to, I can pull it back over to the left a little bit. So I can kind of decide how much of my screen each one of these split screens takes up. You'll notice now my mail is wide enough. It's even trying to show me my inbox and the message I'm on. Granted, there's not enough room to see both. But if I tap on the inbox, now I can see the message, go back to the inbox and switch to a different message, go back to the inbox. Now, if I grab my little slidey guy in the middle, I can still decide how much of which side of which app I want. And when I'm done, all I have to do is grab that middle thing and slide it off to the right or the left. And I get back to just the screen that I want. Okay, one more time through that because it can be a little confusing at first, and you got to kind of get used to these controls. Swipe up to get my dock open. So I kind of want to make sure that I have both apps open so that it shows up in my dock. If it's not an app that's already in my dock, I can't get to it. So make sure that both apps are open, and you can switch between them if you want to. Now to add something up into the slide over, I'm just going to touch and hold, slide it up, and then let it go. And now I'm in my Files app over here, so I can actually look over my files and see what's going on. If I want to now take this into split screen mode, I'm going to grab my little gray line, come over to the edge, and let it split that screen. And when I'm done, I'm going to just take my little gray line and swipe it right or left to get rid of one of those two apps. As always, I'm going to swipe up from the bottom to close that app and get back to my home screen, and also to get my dock to come back up. So I didn't really say it, but that's kind of a new thing too, where you can access the dock while you're in an app, which is that first step to this whole process of getting either the slide over window or the split screen window to activate for you. But accessing the dock while you're in an app is kind of a new thing that didn't really exist before. So the next thing we're going to talk about is app expose. This has been something that's been on the computers for a long time. We used to be able to use the hot corners and take our cursor into one of the corners, and it would kind of splay out all the different windows that we were dealing with at one time. It's called app expose. Now, I believe if it's either a 3-finger or 4-finger swipe up or down on the trackpad can get you into app expose. One way gets you into mission control, the other way gets you into the app expose. But for us, with the iPad Pro or the iPadOS, we're going to touch and hold on any of the icons. And you'll notice in this pop-up menu that comes up, we have things like edit the home screen, make a new tab, but you also see a new thing saying show all windows. And so if I tap right there, it's actually going to open up Safari and show me that I have more than one instance of Safari open or more than one Safari window. And in this example that I've got for you, you'll notice on the right, I've just got Safari open with 4 different tabs. But on the left, I actually have Safari open, 2 instances of Safari open in a split screen, which is what I just showed you. So if you happen to have multiple apps open and you have them in split screen and you go into this, you can actually see that. And now if I want to go to one or the other, I'm just going to tap on it and it's going to bring that forward, and that's going to be the screen that I'm on. And again, touch and hold and say show all windows. And I'm back into that app expose just for this one app to show me my multiple instances or windows of that app.